Good morning, Gear Facts friends. I've got a guy next door doing some renovating today, so you might hear some banging and hammering in the background, but anyway, hopefully we can have a good listen to the Technics SX-K700 because it is fascinating. And I have to say, I've been underwhelmed by Technics keyboards in the past, because the panel layout seems so much more complex than it needs to be on many models. On this one though, I have to say I thought the same thing initially, but after getting in and using it, I realized that it's actually quite logical. It's all grid-based, and it's not something that's meant to look more impressive than what it really is. It does have some interesting synth sounds, and I'm not going to say it's a classic synth or the best I've ever heard or anything like that, but it does make some sounds that are unlike anything I've heard on another synthesizer. So I'm going to start off by giving you a quick run through all of the grid sections, and then we're going to move on to a direct recorded demo. Starting over here on the bottom right, we've got our basic sound selection. I guess there's about 40 sounds or something to choose from, and you just select a point on the grid that matches the sound that you want. So piano, for example. Actually, that's an electric piano. We've got chorus and sustain effects as well, which are very nice. And we've got all our old favourite sounds like synth strings, for example. A surprisingly large number of horn instruments. That's a French horn. Not authentic, but quite a nice sound. Another form of synth strings. A bit more harsh. Synth lead sounds. And of course organs, some better than others. That one is not nice. Of course it helps if you're a better player than I am. And it goes on like that. So usable sounds, nothing fantastic in its own right, but that brings me on to the rhythm section here. This was very confusing for me at first, because even though the section is headed rhythm, it's actually also the area where you adjust your synthesizer settings. And there are some good settings that you can change, but without checking the manual, you'd never know it was there. Anyway, we're on, what are we on, organ? Probably not a bad start. Let's go to sound edit. Now this grid is switched over to controlling these very discrete parameters at the top. Let's get a bit closer. Okay, so you can see we've got some envelope waveforms there, release, depth, speed, delay. The delay is interesting. It's got a few different crescendos and drop-offs that I'll show you in a moment. Then speed and the octave. And the way you change those values, and again, this is not logical at all, but you use the tempo slider. So you can see the light moving quite clearly there. Where on the waveform mode, it's normally like this. So we've got a very sharp attack and an immediate drop off. So it's also controlling decay to some extent. And then on the green light second mode there, it's more of a sustain but an instant drop off. Third one. Softer. And then last one is this very dreamy kind of attack that's very good with delay. It sounds like the music's going backwards. So let's go back to the middle. And now we can control release as a separate parameter. And it really just works like a reverb. Pull that back a little bit and go to vibrato now as the next three parameters. So depth, speed, and delay. Actually, it's coming through quite well. Now delay, have a look at this strange diagram. I've just zoomed in a bit closer so you can see it. This is indicating the volume path that each individual delayed signal will take. So it can rise up and then go down, or it can be a straightforward delay or a few alternatives in the middle. So I've chosen a more pointy sound, like that. And if we go to delay, then we start to get some results. So straight away you can hear that's a Bit of an unusual delay sort of pattern. Let's try zooming out a little bit. That's a pretty conservative, standard sort of delay pattern. That one's a bit more flat and then drops off quite sharply at the end. These ones go in no logical order either, as far as I can see. And this is the most interesting one. So the volume of each delayed signal rises and then falls away again. Works better with chords. And we might want to increase the speed. Give a little more volume. Try a few more delay patterns. So I find this whole delay editing system pretty unpredictable, but generally delay is a whole lot of fun in this section of the synthesizer. The octave function is simply a really quick transpose. So just at an angle now where you can see pretty much everything, I'm going to start from the beginning. We'll start from where we left off and we'll make some changes. Interesting. Just up and to the left, we've got something else quite strange, background sounds. These are basically ambient sound effects. Turn that up a little bit. This can be mixed in with patterns and your melody as well, so you can have a kind of a... There's the thunder again. Press cancel to stop it because it's a loop. But yes, you can mix it into your music and that loop will travel on for as long as you leave that light illuminated. Let's listen to the birds. All of these sound effects are available separately in the drum kit as well, so you can control them manually. Wind chimes. Wind. Streams, just our classic General MIDI water sound effect. Wave. I don't know how well that's coming through the microphone on the camera, but that's actually amazingly realistic when you're standing here in front of the keyboard. Then we got some church bells. And two random synth sound effects which are quite interesting. How you would ever apply that sound effect is beyond me. And combined with the man hammering next door, it's even more weird. I'm just going to skip quickly through the next few sections because they really are all about sequencing and we don't have enough time in this video to discuss that in any detail, but we've got the composer section there, our normal transport controls here. Up here, this column mixes tracks in and out of your style as it plays. Moving over to the right, we've got actual sequencing controls. You can step record or live record on this one. And down at the bottom here, you'll see that we've got quick saving for 4 different sounds, and also you can switch them between polyphonic and solo, although it does kind of work very weirdly. For those of you who are wondering, yes, we do have MIDI in and out, so there is a world of possibilities available with this keyboard. Expression pedal and foot switch sockets, that's nice. Also left and right out to your PA system. And another thing I love is that we've got international voltage between 110 volts and 240 volts, and it's direct power. There is no power adapter involved. Okay, Gearfax friends, so we've been through all of the salient features of the Technics PCM keyboard SX-K700. It's a strange one. In its day, apparently it was very expensive and a bit of a flagship model, quite sought after, and I really can see why. Obviously, it's been very much eclipsed since then, but if you do happen to see one of these, I recommend you at least give it a good try, and try to get hold of the manual if you can too, because there are a lot of interesting features there, and sometimes the sounds can be a little bit surprising. It's certainly fun, it's certainly an education in synthesis, and I'm glad that I got to review it on GearFacts. So thanks everybody for watching, thanks for liking, commenting, or subscribing, and I really look forward to seeing you next time. That's the Technics it's the SX-K700.